morning, welcome to day 7 of Vlogmas. So it is Thursday the 7th of December and it's about 10:30 in the morning here right now. And I've been out this morning and I'll talk a bit more about what I was up to a little bit later in the video. But I got back home quite recently and I made myself a nice cup of tea in a festive mug. I'll show you my Christmas mug here. So yeah, that's making me feel nice and festive. I've got some green tea in here, which is one of my favourite hot drinks. So I'm feeling nice and cosy back at home now, and I thought I would pop on and share what Elf was up to in the night and what I'm wearing from my handmade wardrobe and what I was up to earlier and a couple of other things. So that is the plan. So I'll start off as usual with what we found Elf had been up to in the night when we came down this morning. And in the night, Elf had set up quite a big construction actually. It was too big for me to be able to fit it all in one photograph, so I took a few photos of this one so you can see the full extent of it. But basically he'd set up an assault course for the toys. So he'd found some very large boxes, different types of boxes, and between them he put some little narrow walkways for the toys to navigate across. For the walkways he'd borrowed some of my son's Hot Wheel track, and he'd also used our loft pole, which we used to sort of unhook our loft flap and then pull the loft ladder down. So we'd been quite resourceful in setting up this assault course. And there were quite a few little toys at different points on the assault course, clearly trying to navigate their way across. And Elf himself had obviously decided to go first and he'd just about reached the end. So yeah, it was a bit of a squeeze getting past this assault course this morning as we sort of went about getting ready for the day. But we just about managed, and my daughter escorted all the toys across safely, so everyone reached the end. So that was good. I'm sure they're all pleased to have finished the assault course Elf set up. And obviously Elf has demonstrated again that he's a very strong little elf. Earlier in Vlogmas he managed to get the area up all by himself, and then last night he was obviously lugging around these boxes that are very big. So yeah, hats off to Elf. So it was fun to see what he'd set up there. So that's what Elf was up to. And then in terms of what I'm wearing today, I have got on a hand knitted sweater and a skirt. And I'll talk about the sweater first. This is one I knitted about a year ago. I think it's one of my favourite knitted garments I've made actually. I made it using a kit from We Are Knitters, and it's this kit here. It's called the Pink Cosmos sweater. And I had a look online about what the pink cosmos means, and it's actually a very pretty pink flower. So I learned something new there. But yeah, I do love a We Are Knitters kit, and this was a really fun one to knit up. As you can see, it's got a lovely lacy stitch on it, and the lacy stitch is on the front and the back, and also on the arms too. And it was a lot of fun to knit up. You know, there's a lot of detail there to enjoy as I was knitting. And you knit this one up using a knitting chart with lots of symbols on. And I think this was the first time, or at least one of my first times using a knitting chart. So I guess it's a bit of a different mindset when you're knitting using a chart compared to using written instructions. So it took me a bit of time to get used to it. But once I got a feel for all of the different symbols, yeah, I really enjoyed working my way through it. It was quite a satisfying knit, I found. So yeah, the top's got a bit of a dropped shoulder. It's got a little ribbed neckband. Actually, I think the pattern might call for a neckband to be finished in a garter stitch instead, but I preferred ribbing. I think that's right. And then a little bit of ribbing on the cuffs and the bottom, but I've sort of tucked it into my skirt today. And it's knitted in cotton yarn. The We Are Knitters, I can't remember what the cotton yarn's called, but it's a really nice cotton yarn. I think it's Pima cotton. It's really comfy to wear. And I knitted mine in this sort of creamy colour. I think it might be called Natural. I've also knitted a black version as well, so I've got two versions of this jumper. I enjoyed knitting the first one up so much I bought some more yarn and went ahead and knit another one. So yeah, that is my sweater. And in terms of sizing on this one, I think my measurements would put me as a size small, but when I knitted up a swatch to sort of check the sort of tension, I generally find on We Are Knitters my tension's a little bit tighter than they'd expect you to be. So I ended up sizing up, I think, to a medium, and I quite like the fit of it. I think it's a nice fit on me. So yeah, that is what I've got on top this morning. I just love all the lacy detail. It was a lot of fun to knit, and I think it's quite a pretty one. So yeah, that is a Pink Cosmos sweater. It was a really nice knitting kit. And I'm wearing it with a skirt that I really love. It's a midi length skirt, which you'll know if you've watched my channel for a while. Historically, I used to always wear sort of above the knee length skirts, but in the last year or two, I've really started to enjoy embracing midi length as well. And I made this skirt using a lovely free pattern. It's this pattern here. It is the Sabina skirt pattern by the Little Pomegranate. I'll link it down below, it's quite easy to download. It's a really lovely pattern. I'll show you the line drawing so you can see the details of the skirt. It's a really simple sew, it comes together really nicely, so it's perfect for beginners. So it's a woven skirt pattern. You can make it in a range of lightweight to medium weight woven fabrics. It's got a fully elasticated waist and these little slash pockets, and you sew the pockets so they're anchored into the waistband, so they sit quite nicely. And it's midi length, there's a little ruffle on the bottom, sort of gathered in around the waist. So yeah, it comes together really nicely. The pattern instructions are really comprehensive and they've got loads of explanations about sewing terms in there too. And it's got a good size range as well. It's the UK 6 to UK 34 it comes in, I think. And I made the UK 8, I think, which was bang on my measurements for waist and hips. See, I really love the Sabina skirt. I've got two. One's a more summery version, a very lightweight viscose, and then this is my wintry version, which I also made in a viscose. But yeah, it's a lovely swishy skirt. It's a bit less lightweight than my summery viscose version, but I'll stand up a bit so you can see more of the print of it. So I think it feels quite wintry because it's got the black base and then the white flowers on it. This viscose I got from Minerva. I'm not sure if it's still in stock anymore, but if it is, I'll link it down below. But I remember when I made this skirt, I had in my mind I wanted to make like a black and white floral type skirt. And Minerva had quite a few different options of viscose fabrics on there that were quite hard to choose between. So I ended up choosing this one, but they have got a few good alternatives as well, I remember from when I was looking at this. So yeah, it's a really nice skirt. I think my wintry version, I remember lengthening the skirt by 1 inch. I thought it might be that little bit cozier if I made that a little bit longer. And I'll put a picture up so you can see the full outfit and you can see where the skirt comes down to on me. And I am 5'6" for reference. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing today. I don't often reach for a longer skirt, but I'm really enjoying wearing this one today actually. I thought it went quite nicely with this sweater. And like I mentioned before in Vlogmas, I really am making a big effort to actually enjoy getting out and wearing my handmade knitted items, which I don't wear so much. So I'm really, yeah, Vlogmas is encouraging me to get them out and really enjoy wearing them. So yeah, that is what I've got on today. And then in terms of what I was up to earlier this morning, while I was up at the school, my husband and I went up to the school because it was my daughter's Christmas performance with her class. And it was so lovely to be able to go along and see all the children so happy to be performing. There haven't really been so many Christmas performances in recent years due to COVID. And then after things started getting a bit more back to normal after COVID, the school has been quite sort of gentle and gradual in terms of getting things back to normal on the performance front. So the first year after COVID, they did an outdoor carol concert. Then last year they had an indoor carol concert. But this year is the first year where they did a little Christmas play where the children had parts and there were lines. So it's really lovely to go along and see them all. And they sang a couple of Christmas songs too. They sang the 12 Days of Christmas and We Wish You a Merry Christmas. So I think we all left feeling very festive. And my daughter had the part of a reindeer in the show. And she was very excited to be a reindeer, particularly because it meant she got to wear her reindeer onesie. So we bought her reindeer onesie last year because we went to a fancy dress Christmas party. She was very keen to be a reindeer and she loved this reindeer onesie we got her. And it's getting a little bit small now. It's a little bit short on the leg, but it still fits just about. And she was very, very keen to wear it for the performance. And she actually had, all the reindeers had names and she was Cupid. So I guess the reindeer of love. So to make it nice and clear, she was Cupid. We decided to add some hearts to the reindeer outfit. So I basically cut out some jersey hearts. I just drafted a little heart pattern piece, cut out a few jersey hearts and sewed them onto the outfit, which is quite a nice, fun little creative project. And she was quite pleased with how she looked with the hearts on. And then also her reindeer outfit had a red nose on it, but she was very clear that because she wasn't Rudolph, her nose should not be red. So also I cut out some black jersey and just sewed that over the red nose just to cover it up so she looked like another reindeer, not Rudolph. So yeah, it was quite nice to be able to do that little project to kind of jazz up the reindeer outfit, and she really enjoyed wearing it today. And I've got a picture, so I'll pop it up so you can see her in her onesie. But yeah, it was lovely to go along and a really nice start today. So that is what I was up to this morning, and it did also involve a bit of sewing. So I was quite pleased to be able to share that. And then I also wanted to share my Wonder tape arrived yesterday, so that's very exciting. So here it is. I'm really looking forward to giving it a go. It does look a bit familiar actually, so I'm wondering if I might have ordered some years ago and they never used it. I'm just not sure. I might find some lurking at the back of my craft cupboard. I don't think it's in there, but it might be. So yeah, anyway, I've got some now. I'm really looking forward to giving it a try. I think I'm probably going to give it a try on the pencil case first, just because that feels like a bit more of a straightforward project before I use it on my DD pullover. But yeah, I'm glad to have it, and I'm sure it's going to be really useful when it comes to installing zips going forward. So that arrived in the post. And I also ordered one other item, sewing related item, which is something that I've been fancying getting for ages. I don't know why, I didn't think I put it on my Christmas list. I think I just forgot about it then, but I saw that Amazon was selling them for quite a good price, so I thought I'm just going to buy a pair because yeah, I've been wanting them for absolutely ages. So it's a pair of scissors, and it's these scissors here. So they are Prim Applique scissors. I think you can get them in different brands. So although they're called applique scissors, I kind of think of them as duck-billed scissors, or I might be wrong there, but something along those lines. I think that's what I've heard them called, maybe something similar to that. Anyway, these really cool scissors, and they're really useful. Well, you probably already know they're really useful for trimming or grading seam allowances. So I've always just used a little sharp pair of sort of small scissors to do that, but every now and then I do cut through both layers when I'm trying to grade the seam and just cut through one layer. But I think this big side of the scissor here is supposed to really make it easy to be able to cut through just the one layer and keep the other layer sort of pushed out of the way. So I feel like it's a pair of scissors that I could have done with years ago, because I've graded so many seams since I started sewing, but I've now finally got a pair and I'm really looking forward to giving them a try. So yeah, they're really cute, aren't they? They've got these little rose gold handles which look quite pretty. And yeah, I'm just really pleased to finally have them as part of my sewing sort of tool selection. So yeah, they're 15 centimetres long. I'm just hoping they're going to be a really useful item. So yeah, I was quite excited to get those through the post too. So yeah, those are my two purchases that arrived yesterday, sewing related. And then what else did I want to share? Oh yes, I wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who commented yesterday on my video when I was talking about my Tanita top. So here's my Tanita top, which yesterday I unpicked the bottom because it did have this elastic channel in it, pulling it in. And I've made it as long as possible now. And I was saying about how I was thinking of overlocking the bottom, then doing a little tiny hem, because I wanted to keep the length on it. Now I've unpicked it because I think that length is a bit better. And quite a few people recommended doing a facing or bias tape to finish the bottom so that you don't take too much of the length by hemming it. And I feel silly I didn't think about that. It's such a great idea and so much better idea than my idea of overlocking and hemming. So thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. I had a look in my fabric suitcase last night, and because this fabric is quite lightweight and a little bit, it's a little bit, you can see through it a little bit. I knew I'd have to get a fabric that didn't have a pattern or something quite simple and light coloured, and the only thing I could find that would fit the bill, I think, is this plain white fabric I have, and which I think it looks like I might have used this for bias binding before from the cutting I have on it. I don't know what I got it for originally, but I'm hoping that will be okay, and I can cut that to make some bias binding to be able to finish off this hem. And I think although it's white and the fabric is cream, I think once it's turned under, I don't think you should see so much. It's a little bit lighter coloured, I'm hoping. So that is what I'm planning to do. I might try and do that later, maybe, to start cutting that bias binding out. I'll see how I get on, but thank you so much. I think it's a great idea of retaining the length. So yes, that is the plan, to be able to finish this Tanita top and hopefully make it into something I'm going to wear more. So yeah, thank you very much on that front. So I think that's everything that I've got to share for the moment. So I'm going to head off now, get a few jobs done, and hopefully make a bit of progress on the sewing front on one of these projects. So I'll leave you now and I'll pop on a little bit later to share with you how I'm getting on. So I'll see you a little bit later. Bye. Hello, so a bit random, but I'm in my bedroom now and I was putting away some washing, and I thought I'd show you something that I've been really enjoying this winter, which is my organised tights drawer. So I'll open up and I'll show you it. So earlier this year I made these little fabric pots. I'm just using a free tutorial online and some quilting cotton that I had left over from another project, and I've organised my tights into them. These are my sort of finer tights. I've got in this front one blue tights to match the sort of blue, in this middle one black tights, which is the one I use the most, and the back there is a load of random tights. I think I've even got some elf tights in here somewhere amongst all the tights, but yeah, it's working really well. It just makes it so much easier in the morning to know that I'm grabbing a pair of black tights, and they are definitely black, because it can be really hard to tell in the morning, like between the black and the blue particularly. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you that, a little crafting project I did earlier this year that didn't take very long and has proved to be very handy. So yeah, there is my tight straw. Hello, so I'm back again now, and I hope you enjoyed seeing that little bit of footage of my tight straw. I was putting away the washing a little bit earlier and I was putting away some tights in there, and I was just thinking how much easier it is to use now that I've made those little fabric storage pots. It's so much easier putting the tights away and then also getting them out in the morning. So I thought I'd just share that little sewing snippet of how I've made my tight storage system work a little bit better. And it was quite a fun, speedy project, sewing those little fabric baskets too. So yeah, I thought I'd just share that. But I don't know where the day's gone today. It's just flown by, and yeah, I've got a few jobs done around the house, so it has been quite productive, but I haven't had as much time to sew as I'd have hoped, but I have got a little bit done, so I thought I'd share that now. So I went onto YouTube and I found a pencil case tutorial that I like the look of, that had a pencil case about the size and shape I was looking for. And it had quite a nice little detail on it of some little tabs at the end that I thought might be quite fun to sew. And the tutorial had hundreds of thousands of views, so I thought it must be a popular one. So I'm going to go with that to make my daughter's pencil case. I will link that tutorial down below. So I've cut out the pattern pieces, so they're all ready to start sewing now. And to make the actual pattern pieces to use for cutting out the fabric for the pencil case, I use this cool paper, this dots and crosses paper. And I got this paper originally when I bought my Guthrie and Garney Luskin Tire bag kits earlier this year. So that's this pattern here. It's a Guthrie and Garney original pattern for this lovely big bag. I made two and they were so handy on holiday this year. They just held so much stuff. They're really, really good. And when I got the kits, they came with this dots and crosses paper because you had to draft your own pattern pieces. They gave you the measurements. And I found it so handy for bag pattern pieces because these dots and crosses, because I guess most bag pattern pieces are square. So it's really easy to be able to get just the right shape. So much easier than starting with like a blank piece of tracing paper and having to make sure you make a square that isn't wonky. So you just follow these lines. And because I got two kits, I only ended up using the dots and crosses paper from one of the kits. And then once I had the pattern pieces, I just reused them when I was making my second bag. So I had quite a lot of this dots and crosses paper left over. So I used that to make my pencil case pattern pieces. So here is the main pattern piece. And this one had to be cut 2 pieces of outer fabric, 2 pieces of lining fabric and 2 pieces of interfacing. And then I also needed another little pattern piece, which is 2 by 2 inches for the little tabs at the end of the pencil case. I don't know where that pattern piece has gone, but I've cut out the fabric. I'm going to use this pink fabric as a little feature on those tabs, I think. So I've got all my pattern pieces cut out now. As you can see here, the outer fabric and the lining fabric. And I've got my interfacing cut out too. This is a bit more of a sturdy interfacing than I'd usually use for dressmaking. I can't remember why I got it originally. But yeah, it's a little bit more substantial. I thought that'd be better and more sort of hard wearing for a pencil case than like a lightweight one that I'd usually use for my dresses and things. So these pieces are all cut out. The next step, I guess, is to iron the interface on and then start sewing the pencil case together. So I don't think I'm going to have much time to do that today because it's getting towards school pickup time already. And this evening, my husband and I have got some Christmassy bits to get up to, so I don't think I'll get any time to sew this evening, so, which is a shame, but I'm hoping to do a bit of this tomorrow and some other sewing bits tomorrow. I'm definitely going to carve out a bit more sewing time tomorrow, that is the plan. But yeah, I'm pleased to have made that progress, and I'm looking forward to sewing this pencil case up. Did I say? I'll definitely link the tutorial I'm using down below. And I'll let you know how I go in it as I go along with it. So yeah, that'll be nice to try that. But yeah, the dots and cross paper was very handy. So that's what I've got done on the sewing front today. And then in terms of my plans for the rest of the day, well, in a short while, I need to go and get my children from school to pick them up. And I'm hoping it won't rain on us because it has been a very rainy, grey day here today. So I've got my fingers tightly crossed that we won't get wet at school pickup time, but we shall see. And then we've got another evening at home tonight, maybe doing a little bit more of the jigsaw puzzle. I need to show you how we're getting on with that. I'll show you tomorrow. And then yeah, my husband and I are going to be doing a bit of Christmassy planning as well. So that is the plan for the rest of today. So I'll finish off this video here. And I will look forward to seeing you again for day 8 tomorrow. I feel like time is suddenly starting to move a bit faster and the days are starting to fly by a little bit. Can't believe it's going to be day 8 tomorrow already, but Thank you so much for joining me for another day of Vlogmas, and I look forward to seeing you again for day 8 tomorrow. So see you tomorrow. Bye.